The world had changed so fast in a short time. I looked out over the crowd that had gathered, able to see them without them being able to see me. It was scary. Politicians, soldiers, cops, and so many reporters that they'd needed to get a bigger tent to hold them all. The people in charge of the U.S. wanted to keep the dragons contained, so the tent had been set up in a clearing near the side of the road, not that far from Dataris, the dragon capital city of the world. I was the Dragon Queen, but it hadn't been a clear route to the throne. Until 6 months ago, I hadn't even known I was a dragon, let alone royalty. And the demon I was meant to protect the world from had escaped 3 days ago. I'd barely slept the night before and had woken up in a pile of tangled limbs with Flick and Neritos. We hadn't intended to share the bed, but none of us had been able to sleep. After the conversation we'd had, it had gotten worse. I'd finally told Flick that Neritos had somehow developed the same magical ability as a red dragon and had practiced it as well, and that had taken a weight off my mind. It had hurt Flick to find we'd kept a secret, but he'd understood why we hadn't said anything at first, and he'd been generally encouraging. We'd tried to teach him after that, but we didn't have decent conditions, and it wasn't going to get easier. After that, we talked until we fell asleep. Neither of them had been awkward about waking up with us all on the same large bed, and I had bigger things to worry about today, like telling the whole world that dragons did exist and that I was their queen. My stomach felt so tight, I was afraid I was going to throw up. But I hadn't eaten anything for my stomach to give back to me. The rest of me was shaking, terrified of what they all might do. I'd failed them all by letting out a demon intent on enslaving or killing everyone on the planet. I hadn't been directly responsible, but I had failed to power up his gate in time to stop him from breaking out of his prison. "It's almost time," a woman said to me, and then hurried away again. I was grateful for the warning, but I wasn't entirely sure what was coming. Not without some kind of explanation. It was clear I wouldn't be getting one when the people on the stage started talking. A woman sat on a bright orange chair. Several more sat opposite and around the area. She seemed to be in charge, and only let the others speak when she decided they could. If there was any pattern to it, I couldn't work it out. They discussed what was happening and why, and the revelation that there were dragons. For several minutes before, the woman cut through all the noise and chatter and brought everyone back to her.